What's up, everybody? It's Zack McCarley with strengthcrew.com. Today I'm going to be talking about motivation and a little bit of expectations. When I started out, I didn't really think of motivation, actually. It wasn't until one of my friends, Rocco, asked me, Zach, what motivates you? What makes you come in every morning at 6 a.m. to a cold warehouse and, flip tires every Saturday on your day off? And, I honestly never thought of it because the thought of motivation never occurred to me. I was so happy that I was able to do what I wanted to do. So then I started self-analyzing and I started thinking, okay, well, what is motivating me to do these things? And I started to come up with this list. So in the beginning of my strength career, the motivation for me was really progress. I started seeing progress. I started getting better at lifts. You know how it is when you start lifting, you get fat or you get strong really fast, and those gains start to taper off after a while. When you start to, that's just the way it is. You get fast, or you get strong pretty fast, and then your gains start to slow down, and you have to grind through those gains, and that's just the way that works. So when I stopped seeing progress, I kind of turned to music a little bit, and I was like, I listened to my music, and I'd be lifting, and it was kind of like my own time to kind of vent and just do my thing. And after a while, that music started to wear off, and I would either listen to metal and I'd burn out in 20 minutes and I wouldn't be able to lift after that because I'd be so tired, and my adrenaline would have been pumping that whole time, and then I'd just crash really hard, or I just wouldn't really be digging the music. So the next thing I found was that really motivated me was my ability to do it, and my ability to pursue something that I liked, pursue something that I found really interesting, because I know a lot of people in life don't have that opportunity, and it's too often that people take that for granted, that, I don't want to go in and train on Saturday because it's hard or whatever. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it, right? You can be as serious as you want, you can be as lax as you want with whatever you want, but to me, it would be a waste to not show up every Saturday, and it would be a waste not to give it my best shot, because I live in a great country that you can pursue whatever you want to pursue. And, when I set my sights on something, I go after it. And I think that's the way everybody should be. But, again, you can be as serious as you want about whatever you want. And in that time frame, I turned to quotes a lot, too. I remember I would keep my training log online, and I would write a quote at the end of every log, and I had a quote of the day, and I did this for like a year and a half, and it was, I still like quotes a lot. I still like motivational quotes. Whatever you are, be a good one. That's Abraham Lincoln. That's one of my favorites, because that really embodies kind of what I strive for. Is I want to be a strongman, so I want to be the best. So I give it my all. The next couple of things I noticed were like, it's your chance. It's your chance to be great at something, and that's something that can really stick with you, or it can kind of taper off. And for me, it kind of tapered off, because to me, your chance is like, that's a false motivation. It's not something that is right there on the surface. It's something that can kind of pressure you and kind of push you in a negative direction, causing you to hate what you're doing, and that's not what you want to do. When you want motivation, you want to be excited about something. You don't want to be like, oh, I hate what I'm doing. So, and the next thing was negative too, perfection. You want to be perfect. Like, I remember I was so upset after I won the Squim Show amateur contest, because I only won 4 out of 5 events, and I took second in the 5th event, and I was really upset. Like, it was just total failure for me. And I remember the same thing happened when I took second at Nationals in 2009. The same thing happened when I earned my pro card. I earned my pro card by a sizable margin, but I was really disappointed because I wanted to do better in the individual events. I had only won like 2 or 3 out of 7 events or something like that, and that wasn't good enough for me. And honestly, I still adhere to the perfection a little bit, because last year at Pro Nationals I won 3 out of 5 events, and I was I wasn't upset because the last one I kind of dialed back on, but to be honest, Sean had me dead to rights. Like he beat me flat out on the stone, and then a couple guys beat me on the log. But I wasn't happy that I didn't sweep the events, because that's something I always strive for perfection. And that's not necessarily good motivation, but it's effective, I suppose. These last two are really things that are right on the surface for me. And I've said for a long time to all my friends, all my family, it's not a choice. Eliminate the elimination of the choice, right? So if I'm going to train on Saturday, if I'm going to be a strongman, I'm going to be a strongman. And nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to make it to that, I'm going to make it to that training session if I have to crawl there. I'm going to make it to the training session if my car breaks down and I have to walk. If I have to, bike in the snow. If I have to train outside in the snow. If you follow my YouTube, I have trained out in the snow. I don't miss training sessions, and it's because I don't have the choice to. Once you eliminate that choice, it makes it so much easier, right? When you adhere to something and when you totally commit, you stop looking at motivation and you start looking at how committed you are. Okay, and then this last one is something that it really started to hit me probably right before the last Pro Nationals. So October, I want to say, early October. I was training for Pro Nationals. I was real serious, and I was like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I noticed I started burning out, and I started, my body just started, hating me, and I just felt tired all the time, and my enthusiasm wasn't there, my energy levels were sapped. It wasn't a food issue, it wasn't a rest issue. It was that I was so stressed out about what I was doing, I wasn't enjoying it anymore, and I started to resent the sport. I started to resent the sport that has come to represent me and embody the person that I am. And that is a bad place to be. So I looked at my situation and I stood back and I said, I started thinking, I just need to start enjoying myself again. I need to start living a little bit. And so I started to love what I did. Love what you do is the place where I'm at. I'm at love what you do. Because I really love what I do. I love the sport of strongman. And I love strength sports in general. That's why I compete in more than just strongman. I compete at whatever. I'm actually going to be entering the CrossFit Games just because, right? Why wouldn't you? It's a great test of, will, endurance, strength, whatever you want. I just like the challenge in general, but the motivation for me is, I love what I do, and, to be really grateful of the position that you're in. I remember I made a Facebook post right before I flew out to Nationals this last year, 2012 Lightweight Pro Nationals, and I said, the Facebook post went something like, I trained hard, and whatever happens at Pro Nationals happens. I'm grateful for everybody that supports me, and I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to leave it all on the field. And if I do well, I do well, and if I don't do well, well then I give it my best, and that's a win anyway, right? So I stopped worrying about what could happen, and I started just focusing on me and having fun and enjoying what I was doing again. So you gotta love what you do. For some other people, some people shoot for admiration, and I think that's not a good thing to strive for, is the admiration of others in motivating you, because that's always going to push you to, pushing you out of your comfort zone isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's going to push you into doing things that I think, aren't necessarily the best for you, and things that may not create the best you. If that's what you got to use, that's what you got to use, but I don't use it, and I don't think it's very effective. So, last thing is expectations. Expectations that I've held for myself since as long as I can remember. I always compared myself against the best. I always took what the best anyone had ever done, and I said, where am I at? And then I'd look at the percentage of like where I was at, and I'd analyze it in like a million different ways. I'd cut it up, turn it upside down, give it a pound by pound, inspection. Say they weigh 325 pounds and they deadlifted 1,000 pounds, and say, they're deadlifting 3 pounds per pound of body weight, and I'd inspect it every single way. And looking at those big numbers, you look at your numbers and you become unsatisfied, and that can tie into motivation. That can make you want to go harder. Those expectations, I guess expectations would be another motivator. But that will push you beyond your threshold and into new territory, and it'll make you better than you've ever been if you start comparing yourself against the best and only the best, and not expecting any less than the best from yourself. And then another expectation that too many people overlook: everybody wants to get strong, and everybody wants to get fast, everybody wants to jump high, everybody wants to do this and that, but they want to do it right now. Okay? You're going to make small gains, but they're going to be steady, and they got to be small and steady, or else your body's not going to handle it, right? You have to accept that it's going to take a couple years to get to the top of whatever your sport is. For me, honestly, I can't say I'm the pinnacle of the strongman sport, even in the lightweights. I can't say that. No one can really say that. But I can say that the last 3 years, I've been undefeated in the lightweight category. And I've won 3 consecutive national championships, 2 of which were pro championships. And that came through small and steady gains, right? I didn't get super strong really fast. And I know guys that got their pro card in 1 year or 2 years. Wow, that is a huge accomplishment, by the way. If anybody doesn't know the pro card system in strongman, that is a really big accomplishment. That's huge. That's massive. It's pretty damn impressive. But it took me. I started strongman in 06 and then to wrestling season and focused on it in 07 and went through, and I didn't get my pro card till 2010. So realistically, it took me 4 years, because it was the end of 2010 or 2010. But after that, I've been doing pretty darn good. So it really is about comparing yourself against the best and slow and steady gains, and eliminate that choice, put your head down and just do it. And then other times it's acceptable to just love what you do, enjoy what you're doing, right? Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, why are you doing it? Well, that's all I got to say about this. Feel free to comment down in the box below. If you have any questions for me, if you have any topics you'd like me to talk on, just post them down there. Don't forget to subscribe to Pro Strongman Zack and Strength True TV. And yeah, stay tuned for episode 4.